Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about becoming your dream self and how to do it without worrying about anything. So first and foremost, I want to say, if you are a thinker, if you have a mind, you are a creator of your reality. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what you do for a living, it does not matter what your religion is. You are a creator. You've been creating your entire life with your thoughts, your assumptions, your beliefs. Everything about you makes up your outer experience. There's nothing that you could do to mess up anything unless you decide that you're messing it up. You create all of the rules. So the law of assumption is a law that makes more sense to me than any other law that there is when it comes to the spiritual realm or the laws in general. It's basically, if you believe something to be true, then it will start showing up as true in your reality. In other words, you create all of the rules all of the time. You get to create the rules and it makes more sense. This is how we are all living different lives and experiencing different things. And if it wasn't true, there would only be one religion because you couldn't do anything that you really wanted to do. There'll be probably one race, one gender, more separation. The fact that we're all doing what we want to do and without interrupting someone else's flow, then that really lets you know whatever you believe to be true will be true. This is why Christians and Muslims and all the other religions in the world can go to court with actual documents proving that their religion is factual. And as I was a Christian, I also have proof that being a Christian was real. When I was a spiritual whatever, I have a lot of, I would say, testimonies or a lot of situations that I created from those thoughts and our core beliefs and whatever. And another thing too, like when you move from religion to religion, it don't take time. You literally can practice another religion while you're in another religion. And you can literally be a quote unquote spiritual person and still go to church every other Sunday just because you still have that deep down rooted. And a lot of religions are cross anyway, a lot of spiritual practices from the Bible. So there's nothing that you really do that really changes your status of being a creator in your reality. So who has the power? You have the power in your reality. Everyone is responding to you if you're the thinker. Me, in my reality, everyone is responding to me. I'm the thinker, but in my reality, people are still creating. As you see, the world is still going on. People are still manifesting. People are still creating, but they're only creating under my assumptions of them. So this is how you change the world, by changing your perception or assumptions about them. But one of the things that I do want to talk about, because a lot of people are still limited and conditioned by what they can and cannot do. And that usually comes from them holding on to their limited beliefs of who they used to be and what they had or what they feel like they should have. Right. So then we know that goes down to self-concept. That's why self-concept is quite important, because self-concept really stops you from going where you really want to go. We want our self-concept to be big enough to get what we want without holding conditions on it. You know, a lot of the time we feel like we can't have what we want because there's so much stuff attached to it. But remember, you're the creator of your reality. So whatever you says it is, it is. So if you see your manifestation with a lot of things attached to it that's preventing you from getting it, you're creating it to be that way. Because you can also just jump right into what you want and call it a day and believe it and start watching it unfold. I want to start saying the things that I notice that come to me quicker is when I just jump to the end of it. Those things are usually appearance for me. I can easily change my appearance very quickly by just jumping into what I want, regardless of what it looks like, because I'm not putting condition on it. Like, I've seen too much evidence of me manifesting and changing my appearance within moments. Sometimes it takes longer, just depends on what it is. But for the most part, within a couple weeks now or a couple days, I can literally look exactly the way that I want to look, you know? And I do it because I don't hold a condition. I don't say I need to do this in order for it to happen. I just automatically see myself being exactly what I want to look like. I automatically just see myself having what I want to have, you know, and it shows up physically for me. I do that when I want to look a certain way. It's really easy. I do it with growing my nails, growing my hair. I do it with, you know, changing the way my shape looks. I do it with my face. I do it with everything. A lot of the times we don't get what we want is because we hold a condition. Like, we need this in order for that. What's going to happen is when you focus on your desires, you're going to naturally end up doing something to get it, or it's just going to show up. There's nothing that we need to do. We always like to try to figure things out. How can we get from this to this? When all the how you need to do is how to focus on having it. That's the only how that you need to worry about. Everything else comes together. There is something that is inside of us that naturally moves us or naturally brings people to us to bring us what we want. I have another time where I was just literally in the mirror for like about a week or two every night, visualizing, fantasizing. I was this model walking down the runway. I had people to the left, to the right of me, lights. Like, I'd never been down a runway before, but that was just like something that I was having fun pretending like I was doing. I wasn't sitting there and pondering how it was going to happen. I was actually modeling in my room in the mirror and visualizing everything to be what it was. Within a week or so, my sister knocks on my bedroom door and hand me this flyer for Urban Fashion Show. Now, I didn't have to go and scan the books. I didn't have to go and call numbers. I didn't have to do anything. My sister literally brung a flyer that she received from someone else that she thought about me and came in my room and gave it to me. And that weekend, I ended up going to the audition and was in an Urban Fashion Show. And within a couple weeks, I was on runways in front of celebrities. It was pretty cool. It was a good experience for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. I was able to not only model in that show, but a lot of designers like me, like everything about me. I modeled in other shows, like all because I was in my bedroom. Like, that's what's so cool about life. If there's an event that happened in your life, go back to the moment where you created it, because we're always creating. So the most natural way that you've been creating your entire life is the most natural way that you should continue to create. Which for me now, I can go back and see like, okay, my best work comes from me just already feeling myself having it, or me already experiencing it without any conditions placed upon it. Like, I don't have no, how do I do this? Because at times before I became a model and was modeling, I was actually going on auditions. People were stealing money from me. It was a lot of stuff. So this is what I believe the Bible talks about. Basically, the ones who are not going to their God power first, God, the source, will labor in vain, pretty much. That's not word for word the scripture, but that's something like the scripture saying. And it's so true. Like, your power, you're so powerful. All you have to do is visualize and accept what you want as true. And you don't even have to really believe it, because I didn't believe me doing that, visualizing myself being a model. It was just something I was doing for fun. I was enjoying it. I was literally in the mirror, dressing up, looking cute, and just enjoying myself, visualizing, fantasizing like people are really like watching me model. And it happened. I remember one fashion show that I did. It was almost the exact visual that I visualized. It was dark. All the other ones were light. I could see everybody, but this one was really dark. I couldn't really see people. It was just lights at the end of the runway. It was like flashing lights. It was dark, everything. And it was just exactly the visual that I was visualizing, because I couldn't see people. So I was pretending like they were there. So everything was dark. Like I could see the head shadows, but I couldn't visualize people at the time. So I was just like, just pretending people were there without really doing too much of it. And in my real life situation, it was the exact scene, exactly like it. And I didn't really see people. I just seen the shadows of people's faces. I've done this multiple times as far as having a visual in my head, and it came to pass. So if you're having any trouble visualizing, my suggestion to you is to work on that. And why not work on it? Like if you want improvement, especially if you feel like you need to up your game a little bit, to do it. But at the end of the day, you've always been manifesting, so there's nothing for you to even worry about. The only thing I would say is to be monitoring your thoughts, watching your thoughts throughout the day, see how you are thinking, right? About everything, everyone and everything. It matters, because this is how people and everything is showing up by your assumptions. When people show up in a way that they're not pleasing to you, then there's something inside of you they're reflecting back, whether it's a general assumption about people or a personal experience which created an assumption about that person, So that's something that as a creator, you want to change. So everything that's coming to you is like still asking for your command and your approval. Is this something you still want? Look at it like that. Look at it like, it's being brought to you as the God of your reality. Like, do you still want this to be this way? Or do you want to change it? If you want to change it, then you go back in and then you start changing it. The way you change it is to change your opinions about it, change your view on it, change your assumptions about it, change how you feel about it. What do you want instead? What do you want to experience instead from this person or this situation? And hold no conditions to it at all. Like, just accept it as how you want it to be and allow it to be. When it shows back up still the old situation, then you just keep on. No, thank you. I don't want that. Serve me what I want. Like, look at it like food. Like when you're ordering food, are you going to take something that you didn't order? Or are you going to tell the waiter, I'm sorry, this is not what I ordered. I will want what I ordered. And just look at life like that. Like, take what you ordered. When you go to a restaurant, you're very serious about how you want your food to come out. Be the same way with your desires and everything that you are and what you have. Like, be very particular about you to have the best life, become your dream self. You can literally become your dream self. A lot of the times, like, we do condition things as bigger and smaller. So I'm working on myself when it comes to me looking at whether or not things are bigger and smaller. And I noticed that when I'm not thinking about whether or not they're bigger or smaller, they come to me quicker. It's very important for us to also realize that we can't mess anything up unless we say so. Like, we are in complete control of everything, and everyone is just responding to us. So when you have a desire, try not to look at how you can get it, right? Try to look at how you can stay focused on what you want. We manifest naturally the things that we have no resistance to. Sometimes people can move up really quickly because once they see one sign of abundance or one sign of everything is working out, they immediately have more faith. But at the same time, remember, signs follow, they do not precede, which means that you're still creating those things. So when you have a desire of something, right, you focus on that thing and it starts to show signs that it's working. It don't just happen out of the blue. Now, if you feel like it did happen, then there was something inside of you where at one point had a desire for this. Whenever you have a desire for anything, you're asking for it, right? And you shall receive. Now, when you receive depends. Sometimes it may happen when you're older because now you have less resistance, or your mind setup is a lot different and it's not a sticky web that's in the middle of what you want. You clean that out, you matured, you grown up, you think differently. So now it's easier to show up, right? So this is why manifestations usually take longer for most people, is because it has to be a clear path to you. There should be no resistance. Sometimes the things that you want, you don't have to do anything for. A lot of people feel like, well, if you want something, you have to put in the work for it. Like, for instance, me going on auditions for modeling back in this when I was like 18, 19. And, it just didn't work out. The outcomes didn't work out because I still had a belief that people were scammers. it was a few things that I created, but remember, the way your reality is set up is based on the way you're setting it up. Whatever settings that you decide to have, your life will start to follow and show up that way. So if something is popping up in your life, you can always change it. Don't look at it like, oh, I gotta settle. This is how it's supposed to be. No, you get to decide. You can say right now, this is not what I want, and it must return with what you want. Just keep focusing on what you want. I'm just trying to give you guys an example of what you guys would do if you was at a restaurant, right? They give you the wrong food. Some people will eat it and just say, you know what it is, whatever. And then some people will come inside and say, no, I'm sorry, sir, I got the wrong one. Some people will raise hell. Whatever you do is what you do. So, but I just want to really just say, remember, whenever you're manifesting something, never hold a condition to it. Be an unconditional creator, an unconditional master manifester for what you want. All your job is to focus on what you want, and that only. Everything else will come to you naturally. Naturally, it will come to you. People will start moving. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like that person came to our area, gave a flyer to my sister, who then came to me to give what I needed. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us, regardless of what it appears to be. As long as we focus on what we want, then we don't have anything to worry about. And also remember this, everything that's showing up in your reality now is based on old stories. So you don't even have to even give the old stories any attention at all. There was Neville Goddard, I believe, calls this world a shadow world. It's like pretty much dead. It's shadows. So it's like when someone is coming at you crazy, or you're arguing with someone, that's a shadow. You're arguing with a shadow. You're arguing with the past. Have you ever been in a situation where you're upset at someone, but that was yesterday and today's a new day? You don't even have the same mindset. Like, that's usually me. Don't care about it. It's over. I'm done with it. I easily forgive people. It don't take long. Sometimes it takes minutes and hours for me to just realize that this is not even worth it. I don't even hate you. It's not even that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been like that. Remember, always modify your reality to be exactly what you want it to be. When something shows up, you take a notebook out, you write it down. And then what I do is at the end of the night, I need to revise that, meaning, what do I want instead? I know that I'm a creator. I know that when I focus on something, I can create it. So if something shows up that I don't want, if I'm not affirming on the spot for it, usually I am. If I'm not, then writing it down is something that I like to do. You know what I'm saying? Usually I'm just verbally in my head, in my mind, just, this is what it is. No, that's not, this is what I want. I'm focusing on that and that only. And I do it. So, make sure always that you're alert and aware of every thought that flows through your head, because those are important. Those are very important. So you know where you are. My whole thing is to remind everyone to always remember that you are the creator, one, of your reality, that you get to decide too. Like, you get to decide how everyone and everything is showing up in your life at all times, and start taking advantage of that. Start realizing that you have all the power and everyone is just responding to you in your reality. You are the one if you're the thinker, then you are the creator in your reality. In my reality, I'm quote unquote the thinker. And I say quote unquote. The reason why I say that is I don't want to take away anyone's ability to feel like they're not powerful. In my reality, of course, I'm the one pulling things to me. And in someone else's reality, they're the ones pulling things to them. We can see this when we turn on the TV, when we watch YouTube. We can see this when we watch, or hear other people's success stories, how they had a desire for something and all they did was just focus on that and that only, and everything else they ignored, or everything else what they were going through, they didn't give it any of their attention. So wherever your attention goes, energy flows, the more of it. So what's happened is they created an opportunity to then live their dreams. These are usually, people who are just always telling this success stories. It's always the same story. There's no different, just different people telling it. But it's all saying the same thing. There's no difference. It's just focus. It's focus on what you want. Ignore everything else. Don't worry about anything else. And you'll be fine. And focus. Remember, focus on what you want. If you're having a hard time focusing, or if you think you're having a hard time focusing, create an affirmation. I like affirmations, but I was reading Neville Goddard's book, and he was saying vain repetitions and speaking out loud, basically. And you could say something all day, but what you think matters the most. So if someone is constantly saying, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire all day long, right? But every time a bill comes up, or every time they look at their bank account, they're like, man, it's those moments that matter the most. So when a bill shows up, okay, you have your moment, but then you keep affirming, I'm a millionaire. It's so easy for me to pay my bills. I pay my bills on time. It feels so good to pay my bill. Every time I pay a bill, I get it right back. That's the attitude. That's what you're saying. Exactly when, because it's not so much you saying affirmations all day. Oh, I'm in a happy relationship, this and that. But when you look at your phone, it's dry as hell. That's when you say, man, my phone is blowing up. Everyone, I've done this, guys. I've done this before when I visualized my man calling me, and he called me, or he texts me, and he'll send me certain funny things. These are the things that I affirm, for my relationship, and it happens. This lets me know that I'm the creator of my reality. Look, you can create it. You can do it. You can create it, so I'm spreading the word too, because a lot of people are so conditioned still by the laws of the universe or whatever. The only law is the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to believe to be true will show up that way. And that means that if you believe in those other laws enough, it will show up that way. If you believe in the Christianity laws, it will show up that way. If you believe in the man laws, it would be that way. So it's important to not be of the world, not be a part of the world. Remember, the world is reflecting back what you have inside of you. The world is just a mirror of you. We don't need to regurgitate anything that's outside of us. That has already been eaten and manifested and all that stuff. That stuff is dead. It's a shadow world. It's just feeding us back. It's like this. Look at it like a playback of the movie that you created. You're the director of your movie. You're watching it back. You're not going to get mad at something. You're going to probably edit, cut, redo this scene. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the directors do get mad, if they're like, okay, look, blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying, you're not going to put too much energy in it, because it's like the director's cut or whatever you're going through. You're watching the film over. You're critiquing it to get better. So look at your life like this. Your life. You're sitting in the director chair right now, and your life is a role. You're at the director's cut, and your mind had already created what you wanted. Just like the directors, they've already created the movie. They're just going back and seeing how it turned out so they can just see. So that's all we're doing. We're sitting in the seat. And of course, we're interacting with our lives. I'm not saying don't be interacting day to day, but what I am saying is also have more of awareness of who you are, which is the creator of everything. You know what I'm saying? As long as you focus on your goals, you're gonna have that desire to do something. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna just sit around. You're gonna have great ideas. You're gonna have more ideas to succeed. When you want to become a millionaire, it makes it extremely easy. If you take a millionaire YouTuber or whatever, and you ask them and they'll tell you, man, it was just, if I would have known this, how easy it is to just focus on what I want, I would have been focused on what I wanted. I was playing around too long. I should have been had it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad I focused, and everything worked out. Everything always works out, whether it's good or bad, though. So whatever we focus on, we get more of it. So, always remember that when you focus on your desires, they show up. Through people, through situations, through connections, through opportunities, through desires and new thoughts, things that you want to start creating or doing. You become a creative person, So I just really wanted to let you guys know, remember, you are an unconditional person. You are unconditional, and usually we allow our past to condition us to believe that we can't have everything that we want, Or we're always wondering how we can have it. Like, how can we get this? What do we need to, what your thing is saying, I want to be a millionaire, but what do I need to do? I need to like figure out what I need to sell, what I need to do, how can I become it. I'm not saying it won't happen, because eventually if you focus on it long enough, it has to show up because you're the creator. But it's usually, you put yourself through a lot of strenuous situations and work, blood. That's what they say, blood, sweat, and tears. There's different ways of doing it. Some people don't have to have blood, sweat, and tears because they understand how easy it be. Just like with me, with the modeling thing, like I could, if I went about it the physical way by calling and going on auditions, and I would say, yeah, I worked hard to get my ass here, but I didn't. I had favor. I felt like I had a lot of favor because I went inside and I visualized what I wanted, and it just knocked on my door. And then I was, honestly, to be honest with you, I had a terrible walk. I've never walked in my life, but it was just a desire I wanted. She wanted to work with me. She had got me someone to teach me how to walk. Like, we had classes. Like, it was just a bunch of fun things, right? We had rehearsals for fashion shows. Like, the urban fashion shows, they wanted to go all out. It was always some type of routine. We had to try on the clothes. Like, it was just a bunch of things. Before I did this meditation thing, though, everything was like conditioned, right? I was like, are they going to like me? I was worried about how, so that's the thing. We need to stop conditioning our manifestations and our desires to how, stop worrying about the how, and just be unconditional. Think about what we want and that only. And if the how comes up, then you say, man, how can I start focusing on it? I need to create a method for me to focus on what I want. Like I said, you are a creator first and foremost. No matter what you're doing, you're still creating. Those things are just focus tools to help you focus on what you want to manifest. They are not doing the work. It's your energy. Whatever you feel like you need to do to help you focus, do that. I would prefer, it to be more of affirmations. Like I say in the morning, I say them throughout the day. It is so easy for me to focus on what I want. It is so easy for me to focus on what I want. It is so easy for me to get into the state of having what I want, state of mind of having what I want. It is so easy for me to visualize and see and feel what I want. Like, those are the things that you need to be saying to keep you where you need to be kept. And throughout the day, when you think about that thing, you need to be also affirming the new story, because you're creating now. You're creating a new story. You're writing a new movie right now that's different. You're changing the ending of what was there, and you're putting what you want. You're doing some editing. So in order to do some editing, you got to do some word paste. You got to do research when they're writing a movie on certain things, what they need to do. When a director is creating a movie, they know what's going to happen. They know they're going to find the right characters. They know the movie is going to be great. They're not worried about it. Think about it. Directors know how to attract the right people for their movies. I'm talking about to a T, maybe the right height, the eye color and everything. They come to them. The people hear the auditions, they come to them. Like, it is so easy for them to create the movies that they want. We're all creators. That person is no different from you. Beyonce is no different from you. Beyonce created her reality, and we're watching her create her reality. She feels like she's all that in a bag of chips. And guess what? So do half of the world. People, no, you're not under anyone's spell unless you are not a thinker. And this is why people are just, in your reality, you're the only thinker. You're the only one thinking, and people are responding to you. People are under your spell. And, I can really go really far in it. Like, I designed plenty of people to show up. I've even at one point, I remember when my man and me had some problems, right? I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can create someone like who looked like him. I don't know why I wanted that. I just wanted to see if I could. Some people can manifest that. They're like so in love with their ex that they create the exact person that look exactly like him or remind them of him. Like, they just show up right out the blue, right? And I end up seeing guys that look like my man. Some of them even had the same birthday as my man. Like, this is how powerful we are. We only go inside and think about it and it shows up. Like, I start meeting guys that had features of him and everything. Of course I wanted my man. I didn't want them. I was just testing it out to see, it's possible. Like, I even had an affirmation, like, every guy that I likes me even more. And I start going out and I start seeing very attractive men, and they were like all in my grill, all up over me, all up in my face. And it was pretty cool. I was like, wow, this really is, as long as you have no condition on it, like, what I'm saying, it's going to show up. And then sometimes it shows up when you get in a relationship, because like I said, when you have no resistance and you have nothing, in the way, it just shows up. Whatever you're creating is going to show up if it doesn't have anything blocking it, right? So that's why you want to constantly always say things that if you're thinking a bad thought, you want to block it by saying something that is the opposite. Like a thought comes up that you're not safe or whatever. No, I'm always safe and protected. That is the block. That is the block to keep that from coming to you, right? Because you're the creator. So always, if your body aches, no, my body is healthy. It's so easy. My body is naturally healthy. I always feel good, and naturally you might find yourself stretching. You might want to try yoga or whatever. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but whatever is natural for you or to make you feel like, is working is going to show up for you. Some people don't even do anything and they feel good because they assume they will. There's times for me too, like even with the body image thing that I was saying in the beginning of the video, like I don't work out like that, but I be seeing when I want like my thighs to be more muscular or to be more firmer, like, and they're not in that moment. By the end of the day, they are. You know what I'm saying? Because I have this belief that it's going to show up. It's like, I know it will. My legs are going to look good in this, period. My stomach is going to look good in this. My boobs are going to look good. My butt is going to look good. I'm going to look good in this. And it shows up because I don't, settle for less. I know it will. Even if it doesn't show up today, I know it's going to show up tomorrow. So I don't have that, like, will it? Like, it all started back in the days, like when I would be going out to like the club or something like that. I would always visualize of me leaving the house looking good as hell. Whatever I put on, I knew I was going to look good in it. So I wasn't tripping. And out the blue, I would have a desire. I would have a thought to look at this dress, and I would put it on and it would be the perfect dress. My makeup turns out perfect. Mind you, I don't even know how to do makeup at the time. I still kind of don't. I'm not a makeup person, but if I need to, I would slay. You know what I'm saying? I'm at that point of manifesting how to slay when I need to. But anyways, back to my story. So whenever I'm talking about when we would step out, me and my friends, because I had this assumption that we always look good. As soon as we get to the line, they're seeing us and they're pulling us to the front. We're in the club. They're pulling us on the stage. Like, they're pulling us in VIP. They're giving us a table. They're making us sit here. They're like literally staging us like we are the girls of the club, like the owners coming out. And because these are my assumptions, like, my assumptions are, I always look good. Whatever the case may be. You can do it too. I see it all the time when I watch girls' vlogs on YouTube, and some of the girls, in my opinion, are not the most attractive all the time. And even though beauty is an inner thing, but they're getting the same attention that I would get if I go out, because it's not what you look like. It's what you have inside of you that's showing out for the world, and they're picking that up. So it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be a freaking 5 in the face and 3 in the body. But if you have an assumption that everyone respects and loves you, and you are the finest one in the club, people are gonna that's gonna be their belief. They're gonna mirror that back to you. They don't have a choice. Sometimes throughout the week I might be unattractive, but then that's when I affirm, no, my face always looks the way I want it to look. I always look good. When I see myself showing up undesirable, I always look good. My face always looks exactly the way I want it to look, and it shows up that way. And you guys can try it too. I'm not more magical than you guys. In my reality, I am. But in your reality, you're more magical than anyone in your reality, because you're the one that's calling the shots. So you're calling the shots. Don't condition your manifestations. Allow them to show up. They will. Have faith. Have fun. Edit what you don't want in your life and create it to how you want it to be. When it shows up, look at it like a waiter's asking you, you want this? Or do you want to be served this? Or, offering, like, are you, whatever your waiter is bringing to the table, if it's not your order, you're going to send it back. Like, start treating your life, your real life, the same way. And it's all through your head. You don't have to do anything outside of you. When, like, don't look at it like real life. You don't have to tell anyone to show up differently. I'm not texting my man to tell him, hey, look, text me more, call me more, send me memes. I'm going within and I'm seeing it. I'm writing things down that I want to experience in my relationship, and it's showing up. And these things I wrote down last year, and it's showing up. It shows up here and there. Some days he don't do it. Some days he do. Some days he do it all day. Like, some days he don't do it for a couple of days, and then I have to go back inside. Keep on creating. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, all it takes is that silent moment. When we get silence in our reality, we think something stopped, or something is over with, or something's not working. No, it's not that. It's not that. Sometimes the old story that you had still pops up here and there. The old story of, like, they don't like you, they're not talking to you, they're mad at you, whatever. It might pop up here and there. That don't have nothing to do. That's the old story. What are you creating now? What are you creating? I always go back to that. What are you creating? When my face or my body shows up undesirable, within the next week, if I put the same thing on, I look better than I looked the week before. Why? And I'm not going to the gym. Why? Because I have an assumption. And I'm not saying for you guys to stop doing any action. I'm not saying that. It's just, what I'm saying is I have a different belief about my image than another person may have. I feel like I can eat what I want to eat and not gain weight. Now, a lot of people don't have that assumption. Like, they can't sit there and eat everything. And this came from me being a very skinny girl when I was younger. I was really thin. Only time I gained weight is when I got pregnant. Before that, I was like sticks and bones, okay? Had a little boobs, a little butt, but it wasn't, I was just literally sticks and bones. I would visualize how I wanted my body to be back then. And the least resistant way for me to get it was to have kids, which was so crazy, because I'll go back before I had my daughter, I was really skinny, but I would visualize, I'll be in the mirror. This is before I knew about manifestation. I would visualize how I want my legs to look, my hips to look, my butt to look, and everything. And I was like, I want to be a nice thick size. I want to be, fill out my jeans a little bit more. But I still had a belief that I couldn't gain weight. But the only belief that I started to notice is that all the people that I knew that had babies that were skinny gained weight. So, not that I wasn't trying to get pregnant, but that was just a natural assumption that I started to see evidence of. So what happens is, when you have a desire, the least resistant way that you created for it to show up is going to show up that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I feel like you should change all the assumptions from people outside of you that you don't want to experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people say, oh, when you start getting money, things happen to your family members, and it's like the Illuminati initiation. Don't create that for your family. Don't create what you do not want to experience. Don't accept that as true. Because, like I said, for me, I didn't want to get pregnant with my boyfriend at the time. I didn't want to, but I ended up getting pregnant with him. And I end up gaining the weight I needed after the pregnancy. Like, now I'm at a nice size where, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with my body. I'm okay with it. I can see that I can gain. Now I have this assumption that now that I had children, I can gain weight when I want to, so it's like, that's how it works. Like, whatever we have programmed in our mind matters, because those create how it's going to happen sometimes. Like, how? So if you want $1 million, right? And you feel like the only way I could probably get it is through inheritance. Someone has to die. So I probably won't be able to get it until, maybe my grandpa or whatever. Like, don't create stuff like that. Don't connect anything that you don't want to you. Because remember, people are just creating outside of you. Like, that's their experience, not your experience. It don't have to be your experience. It doesn't. Like, I could have, if I would have known that, I was like, yeah, it's so easy for me to gain weight in the right areas that I want to gain weight. I don't have to get pregnant to gain weight. Like, that's their story, not my story. And that could have just been something that I thought about every time. But every time I thought about gaining weight, I'm like, how? I've been eating all type of stuff that everybody else is eating around me. You know, all my friends are thick as hell, and I'm eating whatever they ate, and I'm not gaining no weight. So I was like, I can't gain weight. So that was every time I wanted to gain weight, my thought was that. So whatever thought you have after your desire screams to you. So that is like telling you what you need to work on. That assumption right there is blocking what you want. And yeah, so this is really my video. This video is long, but I wanted to get that out there for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy manifesting, and remember, every day become more and more of your dream self every moment of the day. You don't even have to wait 24 hours. You can say right now I'm becoming my dream self. Right now I'm taking control of what I want, and I'm getting it. It's happening now. It's always happening. Everything is always working out for me. I am not worried about anything no more. I'm not worried about how. I'm staying on faith. I'm seeing what I want. When something pops up the opposite, you go into visualizing what you want instead. When a bill shows up, you are visualizing it being paid, money showing up, holding money, whatever you're doing. If you need to go to Pinterest to see a paid stamp on stuff, and just visualize every time you see a bill, you see paid stamped on it. Like, whatever you need to do to make you feel good and manifesting and visualizing, do it, because I'm telling you, it works. Like, there's times where I didn't know how I was going to pay some bills, and I was just like affirming it, and I was like, no, my bills are always paid. Boom, my bills are paid. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, while you're in it, I know it can be very like wrecking. It could be like very, how do I know it's going to happen? Well, you won't know until you try it. That's the thing. You won't know it unless you try it. But remember, you're doing it anyway. You're thinking anyway. Why worry think? Why not abundantly think? Stop worrying and thinking about what you don't have and how it's not going to work, and the outcome of it being the terrible outcome. Or you could just start thinking what you would want instead, and test it out. That's how you test it out. That's how you know your power is. Instead of worrying about all the things that can go wrong when you don't pay this bill, because you're creating an avenue for you not to pay this bill so this can happen. But if you create an avenue that your bills are already paid and you're feeling it and you're seeing it being paid, what I do is I visualize a text message coming through, because my bank is set up for my bills. So I see my bank telling me this has been paid, your transaction so and so, or I might see a direct deposit. I visualize a direct deposit coming through. Those are the things that I do for me. Visualize me having certain cash in my wallet. That really works. Like, visualizing cash for me, wads of cash, or holding cash. I just, there are some things that I've done over the years that really worked, and those things really work for me. And I know it has to work for everybody else too. I know it will. So remember, always focus on what you want, no matter what is showing up around you. That's just the old story. It doesn't have anything to do with your new story at all. That was just what you used to believe in. Right? What you believe in now could be totally different. So let's focus on that. New script coming in. New script. Cut the old script out. Cut it up. But yeah. So you guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share